Buonasera, welcome. Let me welcome on this stage A.M. Holmes, one marvelous writer and dear friend. Mwah. A.M. accepted to participate to this program, and I'm sure you know the program, Six Forgotten Gems. She has picked 3 films that she likes and loves, and I did the same. We have very different tastes, but that's why maybe we're friends. The program is quite long and rich, so I will start with the first choice by A.M. Why don't we start with the first clip? One of the many reasons why I want to thank A.M. for picking this film is because he gave us the chance to pay homage to the great Diane Keaton. And why this film?
That's a classic family film. I think that clip kind of says it all. I just think not to be terribly flip, but I think the way that it captures a marriage and a falling apart marriage is really brilliant. And I also think, Albert Finney plays a writer, and I have a little soft spot for that. And Keaton is amazing in it. And it just, I've loved this film since it came out, and I watch it all the time. And I find it devastating, actually. It's funny to say it's a slightly lighter version of Richard Yates's Disturbing the Peace. Do you know that? Yeah. Which, if you want a darker version, I recommend that novel.
Let's say a couple of things about the filmmakers. The director is Alan Parker, English, quite underrated. I think he did at least 2 wonderful films, Mississippi Burning, and my favorite is The Commitments, about this band.
Yeah, about the band.
Yeah.
And he also made Birdie out of the William Morton book,
right.
Which is an amazing movie.
Which you wanted to...
I first picked it, and then this was all happened before Diane Keaton died. But yeah, this one sticks with me.
And the screenwriter is Bo Goldman, 2 times Oscar winner, one for One Flew Over the Cuckoo Nest and the other one for Melvin and Howard. So it's an extremely well-written film and well-acted Albert Finney, of course. Do you remember the first time you saw this film?
No. No, I don't remember the first time. I know that it just, whenever that was, which was a long time ago, it lodged in my head. And Peter Weller plays Frank, and he's got these blue eyes, and he's just...
You remember Peter Weller, RoboCop.
Yeah. Right, exactly, RoboCop. And then also Dana Hill?
Yes.
Plays the oldest daughter, who's really devastated. I think one of the things, too, is that in this film, you really see the way the falling apart of the marriage undoes everyone in the family, but each differently. And she's now passed away, but she's really brilliant as the oldest kid, trying to keep it all together, trying to navigate what does this mean, and what does it mean when you see your parents behave roughly towards each other, and all of it, and meeting this Sandy, the new woman, and then Frank, the new guy.
I have a personal memory about this film because it came out at the Cannes Film Festival, was presented. The world premiere was at the Cannes Film Festival. The same year, there was a wonderful Italian film called The Night of the Shooting Star, La Notte di San Lorenzo, and I was assistant director in that film. I cannot take any credit for the quality of the film. I was just there bringing, water to the director. That was my job. However, I felt part of a great film, and so I was hating this film because it was a competitor.
Right.
And at the end, neither this film nor Night of the Shooting Star won because a Turkish film called Yol got the Palme d'Or. One more thing about the film. Do you know anything about the title, Shoot the Moon?
It's a phrase. It actually is a phrase from the game. Is it Gin Rummy, I think? That it's something about if you have the right cards, it's called You Shoot the Moon. And there's a reference in there where the kids are playing cards and the oldest child asks him, did you shoot the moon with Timmy, Sandy's kid?
But the meaning is to do something very difficult, No?
I don't know.
No, because
I really don't.
I really don't myself. That's why I was hoping.
That's at the poker club down the street. We have to go down there and ask them. I think it's also, it just... Diane Keaton, if you haven't seen this, really do watch it because she's actually just brilliant in it. And she also captures the sort of variations in upset. So at one point she's trying to be friendly with him and Albert Finney, and they're being funny together, and then they have sex again, and it's maybe going to work, and then it falls apart again, and it's just really realistic. And there's a brilliant scene where she's smoking pot in the bathtub and singing to herself that's just devastating. I don't know.
The film was not a commercial success. No. Actually, it was, let's call it a flop. And one of the reasons was because Diane Keaton just made Reds. And the studio asked her not to promote this film. So, and not only that, but it's quite a depressing film. It's a beautiful but very depressing, very sad film.
Reds is a great film.
Nevertheless, we strongly recommend to watch Through the Moon. Okay, let's go.
And I will say also, for a long time it wasn't available. You couldn't get it, and I remember I bought like a VHS copy of it at some point, like 5 years ago, and it is now easily accessible on streaming.
And there is another thing I want to tell you, that the original cast was different. Meryl Streep was supposed to play in this film. Wow. Yes. But I think...
She wouldn't have been as good.
I agree.
I love her.
I love her too, don't get me wrong. She's fantastic.
But I don't think I think Keaton, there's a vulnerability to Keaton that comes through in this that's just wonderful. And also the way she is with the kids, and it's amazing.
Thank you for picking this film. Let's go to my first choice now. So I picked this film for several reasons. First, in the 70s and early 80s, Fassbinder was considered maybe not only the greatest, but the most popular filmmaker in Europe, if not in the world. And then he sort of disappeared. After he died, he was only 37 of an overdose. And I don't know why this happened. It's completely out of fashion, but he was a true artist, and I think this is his masterpiece. He was trained as a stage director. He founded a couple of stage companies. Both failed. Then he started making shorts, and he emerged like the preeminent filmmaker of the new generation of German filmmakers, the others being Wim Wenders, Werner Herzog, Alexander Kluge, and a few others. The difference between him and the others, he was not afraid of being sentimental, not at all, in particular in this film, and he loved melodramas. If I tell you the story, are you familiar with this film? Anyone is familiar? I strongly recommend to watch the film. But if I tell you the story, it almost makes no sense. It's on the verge of absurdism. But it works. It's a pure melodrama about this woman who is married to a man who goes to war, and she believes that he's dead. He's not. So first he becomes a prostitute. Then he marries another man, an American man. But then the husband comes back. So there is a fight between the husband and this man, and the husband and she, Maria, kills the lover. But the husband takes the responsibility and he goes to jail. And we are still in the middle of the film, and it continues like this. So it's crazy, it's absurd, and it's wonderful. One more thing. Are you familiar with Fassbinder?
Yeah, I want to add, it's funny because I think of this film and his work as in some ways very operatic and sort of romanticized and also about longing and kind of and history that's, it's articulated in the world, but it's not articulated so much in the film, but it's right there under the surface. Did he ever direct any operas? Because that really would have...
Not that I know, operas, no. Many stage,
Yeah.
Do you like Hanna Schygulla and the performance?
Yes.
She's a fantastic actress,
yeah.
and she was the muse of Fassbinder. Let's go now to the second choice, and I'm so happy that you picked this. And it's also a homage to someone who passed away recently.
I know, it's crazy.
It's crazy. So let's go.
Yeah.
So, first of all, thank you for choosing this film. It's Heart of Darkness. And it's Elenor Coppola documentary on the shooting and the filming of Apocalypse Now. Why did you pick this film?
I just love this film. I actually think I like it better than Apocalypse Now. I think it's like the real Apocalypse Now. And it's very funny. I just have to add, Rona Barrett, who was the Hollywood gossip columnist who opened that clip, used to have these magazines, Rona Barrett's Hollywood. And that was, as a kid, I would get those in the grocery store with my mom. And Rona just had like an 89th birthday or something. Just was absolutely obsessed with her, so that's very funny. I feel like this film, well, a couple things. One is that Elenor Coppola was also an artist. So she was an artist, and when she married him, Francis Ford Coppola, he sort of asked her to stop making art And she found that very difficult. And so it's interesting to me that there she is making this film about the making of Apocalypse Now, which had numerous just disasters, typhoons, heart attacks, Marlon Brando near the end of his life, money everywhere. And I feel like it actually captures the complexity of war, the complexity of male ego and power. It's so much about that period of the sort of mid-late 1970s. And also there's a part where, you know, Martin Sheen is going insane and Marlon Brando is going insane and every person is going insane, but it is the hallucinatory energy of that time period and of the confusion of what the hell was that war. So that's why.
Do you know which was the title that Francis Coppola wanted Elenor Coppola to give to this film?
Yeah, no.
Watch Francis suffer.
Yeah.
I know you like to exaggerate a little, but why do you think this is even better than the film?
Well, because I think it articulates and illustrates sort of the inside out of things in a way that when we saw that early footage, or not just early footage, but, you know, Vietnam was the first war that was sort of essentially televised, right? So people then, there wasn't a 24-hour news cycle, so you turned on the evening news, and there was Walter Cronkite sort of bringing you that day's version of the Vietnam War. And I think in the making of this film, you begin to see the peculiarity and the way that people go all in on something. So that's the other piece of it too, that the way that Coppola doubled down on his filmmaking and kept going back for more money and more this, and the story changed and he was rewriting it. That's also how the US government dealt with the Vietnam War. So I think to me it's more informative than Apocalypse Now, which is, by the way, a great film. But you have to see this too.
Have you ever seen the films that Elenor Coppola directed?
No.
She directed 2 films 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So the first one was called Paris Je t'aime, and the second one, I Love Means I Love. And they're not fantastic films, but there is always something very pure and sincere about her that I really admire.
Yeah.
And you're right, she was an artist, and they met each other when Francis Coppola directed his first film, Dementia 13, for Roger Corman. And Elenor, who was Irish, was working on the film as art director. And they fell in love. And then, is there any other Coppola film that you particularly like?
Well, you know, I find him, I mean, even when things are not great, I find him inspiring. And it's also that thing about, I mean, I would say there's arrogance to war, there's arrogance to Apocalypse Now, but the opposite of that too is sort of scope of vision. I look at like an artist like Richard Serra. To me, Richard Serra is like the, you know, a Francis Ford Coppola.
Of sculptures.
Yeah, but, you know, thinking, and actually Rachel Whiteread, I mean, thinking on a kind of scale that others don't want to risk or don't want to imagine. And so even when it doesn't work, I'm kind of all in on it because I just think, wow, you know.
I mean, how many filmmakers you know that they put their own money in the last film, which doesn't work, let's face it, but he put $120 million.
Yeah.
And
that's a lot of white wine.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, good wine.
I know, exactly. Yes. But also the idea that you know, he started a magazine, he started a film studio, he started a vineyard. I mean, this is a guy who had a really big, has an incredible sort of scale to his thinking and a big brain that needed a lot of food and when you see these characters and all of what they go through to make the film and the way that he pushes the actors truly to the brink of sanity, it's wild. And then everyone just goes with him. I mean, it's also that thing of he's charismatic. He's an impresario, you know. He's like Bill Graham, Richard Serra. I have a whole list of, you know, my favorite men whose brains are too big.
The film world premiere was at Cannes, where he won the Palme d'Or. And at the press conference, he started by saying, "This is not a film about Vietnam. This is Vietnam."
Yes, exactly. That's exactly how I feel about it. I will also say that I once, talking to Elenor, she gave me a very good piece of advice. She said, if you're trying to do something and it's like not working and not happening, and that door won't open, go around.
That's very
and I was like, oh, like just quit banging your head against something, just find another go around. I was like, that is really good advice.
Thank you for sharing
anyway.
this. Let's go to my second choice, which is also a documentary, but an Italian documentary. So the year was 1955. The director is Vittorio De Sica, and I must confess that until, let's say, 20, 25 years ago, I didn't know the existence of this film. And I'm sorry to say, but I want to be sincere. And I owe this to Martin Scorsese, who, as I know, is not only a gigantic director, but a true lover of Italian cinema. And he arranged a screening of all the Seta's film here in New York. And when I watched this film, I was completely mesmerized. Did you notice the way it's edited?
Yeah.
The way he uses the sound? It's so mesmerizing and at the same time so contemporary, so modern. And Scorsese presented the film using this word. Vittorio De Sica is both an anthropologist and a poet. He's explained exactly how how fishing swordfish is in the Stretto di Sicilia, in the little channel between Sicily and Calabria, but at the same time he wants to share with us his poetic vision. He is not just a scientist. And you might know some of his most popular films, like Banditi a Rogosolo, but this has something quite unique. De Sica was not from that area, was from Liguria, from northern Italy. But as often happened, he captured the essence of Sicily and of the South. He was completely in love with these people, with these fishermen. And what he does through the images, he helps us to have sort of a religious experience. It's something tribal, something old, eternal. So don't miss this film, Age of the Swordfish. And one more thing, there is a very famous Italian singer, Domenico Modugno. How many Italians are in the room? Okay, you're familiar with Domenico Modugno. Are you familiar with the song about the pesce spada? He wrote and sang a song about fishing the swordfish, which is based on this particular documentary, because apparently fishermen still in Sicily tend to capture first the female swordfish, because if they capture the female, all the other male swordfish go around the dead body of the female, and so they can capture all 5 or 6 swordfish. And of course, it's a tragedy.
Right. What I also admire about this so much is the way it's filmed. It's painterly. I mean, that is the poetic sort. But the lighting and you just don't see that often in a documentary, because the filmmaker is usually just trying to get the picture, and it's just incredibly beautiful and also quite abstract between the water. And it reminded me a little bit too of Apocalypse Now and the sort of the hunt and the rowing faster and faster and trying to get to that thing, and then the silence. So yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Let's go now to the third choice, another homage to a great actor who left us a few weeks ago.
And again, picked before he left.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So All the President's Men, directed by Alan J. Pakula.
Well, there's so much I want to say about this. So this is like the film of my childhood, which is weird to say.
You were born in Washington.
I was born in Washington. I actually skipped school in junior high to go watch them film this movie. So there's a scene where they go to one of the secretaries' houses, and it's Dustin Hoffman around Redford, and I just would hang out on the set, and then we chased Dustin Hoffman down the street to my school where they were having lunch, and I would take pictures, and then when the film opened, I skipped school to go to the opening, and because it was D.C., the news trucks were there, so I was on the news. I was like 14, and then the teachers knew I skipped school because there it was on TV that night. Same thing happened when the pandas arrived. So, I've been very busy as a child. But Nixon and Watergate was really, for me, the moral coming of age. It was as I was a teenager, the Watergate. Remember the hearings? I actually have the 35 records of Leon Jaworski and the committee. I have just always been fascinated by this and the whole idea of follow the money. This is the first sort of public recording of dark money. This is the very definition of dark money. So it's just brilliant, and it's still so accurate.
So Robert Redford was originally cast as Bob Woodward, but at the beginning, the idea for Carl Bernstein was Al Pacino. And it was Redford himself who said, why don't we use Dustin Hoffman, which was a brilliant idea. Do you think that is accurate what we see, or is just romanticized? There are two heroic journalists and a bad guy at the White House.
I think it's accurate. I was thinking of like Redford as the non-Jewish, patrician sort of journalist, and Dustin Hoffman is the, noodlehead.
Dirty and smoking.
Yeah. Well, and also, so Carl Bernstein was also born in Washington. He was not particularly educated. I don't think he went to college. He actually did start, it's factual. He started at the Washington Post when he was like 16 years old. So he was definitely the scruffier, less polished, but very persistent person. And Woodward, has written a lot since then, and Woodward has always sort of played the middle ground much more. So in that sense, I think it is accurate, and I think Pacino would have probably like overshadowed, Redford, and I don't know, spit on him a lot or something.
Scream.
Yes, right. It would have been too big. And in this, I think Dustin Hoffman really captures it very well because he won't give up. He's totally tenacious, but he's also so annoying.
And you know that in the picture is involved also Nora Ephron.
Yes.
Not in the film, but in the real story.
Yes.
Because Nora Ephron was at the time married to Carl Bernstein. And apparently she knew everything.
Yes. I forgot about that. Yes. And then she wrote Heartburn.
Yes.
Which also became a really good movie.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent movie.
Yeah.
Mike Nichols.
Yes.
With Meryl Streep playing Nora Ephron. And then they become best friends.
Yes.
And Jack Nicholson playing.
Yes.
And do you like the work of Alan J. Pakula in general?
I really, really do. Yeah.
Me too. He's an underrated filmmaker. I think Sophie's Choice is a fantastic film.
Incredible film. Didn't he also make Fame?
No, Fame is Alan Parker.
Oh, Alan, whatever. Alan with the P. I like all the Alan P movies. That's right. Totally right. Yes. And both died too young, actually.
Yes.
Yeah,
in a very weird accident, Alan
Yes,
J. Pakula.
driving on the Long Island Expressway, a piece of debris fell off a truck and pierced his windshield, and him.
It's crazy. And he made another paranoid thriller called The Parallax View. With
totally. Yes.
With Warren Beatty.
Yes. I got to go watch that tonight. Yeah. There's also, I will say, this film, I watched it again last night. It's incredibly well written. And I secretly like that as a novelist. But it's just so good to see the pattern between the two of them and the way sort of information is distributed and given. It's great. It's so good.
And how do you like the performance of Jason Robards, which won an Oscar for this?
I love Jason Robards playing Ben Bradley, who was married to Sally Quinn, and they lived in Grey Gardens and whatever. But there's so much just story to also Washington and the Washington Post, and Ben Bradley was the editor, and it's just amazing. I love him in that role, actually.
I have a political question for you.
Yeah.
There is no doubt that the Watergate affair was horrible.
Yeah.
And unforgivable. However, Nixon in foreign politics was a very interesting politician, don't you think so?
I do think he was very interesting. He also, no one will believe this, he founded the Environmental Protection Agency.
Yes, I knew that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, and he also really, it's also interesting because he really was against having women working in government or women working anywhere. I've written a lot of sort of fiction that has Nixon in it.
That's why I'm
kind
asking.
of fascinated by it. I know, because he was the president of my childhood, and they would take us, to the White House. There was always somebody's father or mother who worked there, and we would be doing like cartwheels on the lawn while he was talking to like George Pompidou. It was like whatever, because when you grow up there and you could just like walk up to the door, it's very different than obviously how it is now, and there's security everywhere. And I think he was. I find him fascinating. He was such an odd person.
A very tragic figure.
Not tragic enough, but yeah. What do you think? Why do you think he was tragic?
Because imagine that Watergate never existed.
Yeah.
now we would consider him among the great presidents, I think, or at least the great Republican presidents.
If Watergate hadn't happened?
Yeah. China, Russia.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I feel like the China stuff also was sort of, he didn't really, did he want that to happen, or was it, I mean...
From what I know,
right.
yes. I mean, of course...
Because Kissinger's right there in the background, is a very complicated
But he
character.
picked Kissinger.
And where's the Kissinger fictional film?
Have you seen Nixon by Oliver Stone?
Yes, of course, yes.
I think it's a good film.
Yeah. I'll watch any of these all the time. Why don't we should do a political film series.
Okay.
Next week.
She said that. We'll do it. Let's go to my final choice, which is a work by a brilliant filmmaker. Let's watch it. And it's one of her early films. So Jane Campion, this is the film that made her a star of filmmaking. And I pick it not only because I like it, of course, but because it's almost the opposite of the Fassbinder films. Mm-hmm. Another extreme story, but true, based on Janet Frame's 3 autobiographies. Yeah. And it's a story of madness, of loneliness, and also of prejudice. It's a great portrait of a female character, but she avoids melodrama. Mm-hmm. She goes exactly in the opposite direction. It's quite a dry, but I use this word in the best possible way, film. There is almost no music. She does never indulge in anything. And there is this incredible performance. How do you like Jane Campion film? And
I love Jane Campion. I mean, I think she is an incredibly deft filmmaker, and even seeing this again at this funny angle, I'm always just struck by the compositions. And I think, that's the. I mean, as a novelist, we sort of see a picture in our head, but we don't get to fully color it in. And just the lighting and the way the story is told. And this, I mean, the story of Janet Frame, it is a true story, and she was a writer. All of these stories make me so anxious. Because I just think, I see like Sylvia, I see every woman writer or artist ever, right? And I think of, Frances Farmer, the actress, and women who, Yayoi Kusama, incredibly talented, gifted women who, through history and the complexity of what it is to be a woman and an artist, end up institutionalized. Zelda Fitzgerald, it's just I have a list. It's like my guys with the big ideas. I have the women who are incarcerated and institutionalized. They're going to have a mud wrestling thing one day.
You mentioned Frances Farmer. Yeah. There's a beautiful film with Jessica Lange.
Yes, exactly. Will there really be morning, or will there ever be morning?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You mentioned Ella Fitzgerald. You say Ella
Zelda Fitzgerald.
She was his.
The wife. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. No. Ella Fitzgerald's fine.
Zelda Fitzgerald. Sorry.
Zelda. Yeah, exactly.
That's why I said Ella Fitzgerald.
Yeah. Nina Simone. I could trade you an Ella Fitzgerald. But yeah, I mean, and Campion, more importantly, her films, there's never anything extra. Yeah. It's almost like that in the editing, and it's almost like they're vacuumed super clean.
All the fat.
Yes. There's nothing there. It's very lean.
Maybe her most famous film is The Piano. I don't know if it's her best film, but it's by far is her most popular. Do you like it?
I like it, but I think I like other ones more. I mean, it's devastating. I mean, she's a really devastating filmmaker, and she is never melodramatic, but she doesn't blink, and that's intense.
Okay, now before we leave, we have now a little surprise also for AM.
Oh.
We have a comic relief. Because traditionally we always pick very sad and depressing movies, so a good laughter at the end.
Yes.
Let's watch what I picked. It's an Italian film. Okay, this is Ieri, oggi, domani by Vittorio De Sica. Besides Fellini, is my favorite Italian filmmaker. And he was very eclectic. He would direct Bicycle Thief, Umberto D, but also comedies such as this. And I think that in this scene, the marvel of it is that they have fun. You can tell. Yeah.
It also, and I'm seeing it from such a funny angle, but the guy reminded me of like a Peter Sellers. I could totally see Peter Sellers,
the way you do.
Yes.
Okay, guys, I want to thank you all for coming. I look forward to seeing you all here next Thursday with Nicholas Boggs. And of course, I want to thank AM.
Thank you, Antonio.